Hi, I'm Michael, and I was the blind camel.
And I'm TJ, and girls call me the Hawk.
And this is We Haven't Seen It, a show where two slobs watch every movie ever made to be the smartest people in the world.
Are we slobs? Or are we... We're slobs.
Yeah, we're slobs. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Or we try to watch movies we haven't watched to understand film better, the art, and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
The better version of the show than what I just described. That's true.
So, Michael, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm a little sad about Norm Macdonald.
That's true.
That was a real letdown.
Unfortunately, Norm Macdonald has passed away this morning because of his battle with cancer. That really sucks, especially since he is hilarious. The moth joke is probably one of the best jokes I've ever heard.
That moth joke is a next level comedy
That's
bit.
True.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, I guess there's no sense in putting it off any farther. We are here to discuss the movie that was selected for us a couple weeks ago.
Yes. And that movie was 1987's Ishtar.
Ishtar. And this is the first of the series, your three movies, which were Dustin Hoffman pictures.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, this movie's got a reputation.
Yes. Okay, so this movie is generally considered one of the biggest bombs of all time. Probably is the biggest bomb of all time. Let's see, I got the picture here. It cost $51 million to make. $51 million. And it made back $14.4 million.
Not good.
No, not good at all. No. It's definitely one of the biggest bombs of all time. Probably, we'll get into whether this is one of the worst movies of all time, but that's later. For right now, let's just go into the synopsis of things.
Big bomb, and it ruined Elaine May's directing career, from what I understand.
True, yes.
Well, anyway, brief synopsis. We have two inept wannabe music stars as they struggle to make it Simon and Garfunkel big, but the only gig that they can book is in the Moroccan border city of Ishtar. There they put on their first hit show, but they also find themselves caretakers of an ancient artifact which threatens a bloody conflict in the desert country as they're caught in the middle of a Cold War power struggle. Does hilarity ensue? Let's find out.
I really love those descriptions, man. That sounds like a movie film kind of thing. I love it. Yeah, so Ishtar, The Legend of Ishtar. One of the worst movies ever made, according to mostly a lot of people. Some people say it's actually a good movie, actually a great movie. Some famous directors, famous actors think it's great. I do not think that at all.
I can't say I do either.
No.
And I mean, it was like Martin Scorsese said it was one of his favorites.
Okay.
The movie's polarized people since it came out.
True. Okay, so let's go through like the history of this movie. Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty wanted to make a movie together. They wanted to make a Bing Crosby, Bob Hope kind of movie. You know, vintage movies from the 1950s where they're singing and dancing and all that stuff. So they did. They brought in Elaine May, which they worked before, and they think, okay, this is going to be good. And then things just started to go wrong. It cost way more money than predicted. Both Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty are control freaks, so they fight with Elaine May all the time. There's a lot of other stuff. Let's see what else. Yeah, so the production was terrible. Everybody was arguing.
And it shows, frankly.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody was arguing. And so when it came out, they thought, okay, this is going to be a big hit. It was a tremendous failure, of course.
So what did you think of the story?
Of the story? I guess it's okay. I mean, yeah, okay, so this movie could have been a great movie, okay? You got two of the best, brightest stars in Hollywood during that time. I mean, Dustin Hoffman, one of the biggest Hollywood stars ever during that time. Of course, like, he did take a little bit of a break in the 80s, but, you know, he was still Dustin Hoffman. Then you had Warren Beatty, who was not coming off Reds, but in 1981 he won the Academy Award for, I think, Best Director for Reds. So you had two of the major power stars. And you had Elaine May, who has directed and wrote great comedies such as Heartbreak Kid and
Birdcage.
That's true. And a lot of other films.
You've got the man Charles Grodin.
This could have been good if they just changed a few things. It was insane.
The best word to sum this up, the way I saw it anyway, was just awkward. Nothing really lands. The jokes, if you will, just really aren't funny. They're shoehorned in. You know, one of the things is they're singers, obviously, and they are so bad.
Yeah.
And I know that it was by design. Paul Williams actually did the music writing in this, and he apparently liked the idea of purposely writing bad stuff. but I don't. It just didn't translate. Somehow, it just did not translate.
Yeah, that's the thing of the Bing. Like, I haven't seen any Cosby or Bob Hope movies, but I think that's the thing. Like, they could sing, they could dance, but they always get in hijinks, and that's what they didn't really do.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you could have just changed a few things of this movie and make it better. Like the whole first act. Let's talk about the first act.
Sure.
This is the most unnecessary first act I've ever seen.
For clarification, the first act is them trying to write songs and failing at having their open mic night audition, more or less, and then they go to a bar and there's a flashback scene that's oddly shoehorned in that shows how Warren Beatty's character Lyle saves Dustin Hoffman's Chuck from the ledge.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman's like crying on the ledge and suicidal, and Warren Beatty and the police get him. It was very, very awkward.
Yeah, you could have made that whole first half like the first 15 minutes, and that's it. But that went on for 45 minutes. I felt like I watched the whole entire movie. I was watching it. I was like, how long is this movie?
I couldn't believe it. It's not. They don't get into the desert until like 45, 50 minutes in.
Yeah. I'm like, we don't need to know the backstory. Just cut it down 15 minutes. You have Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman, two bad songwriters. They're performing. They're doing bad. You see their two girlfriends. The two girlfriends just break up with them, and they're at the lowest of lows. And then all of a sudden, like, we need a job, and they just they go to the agent, and they're like, we need a job, and they we got one for Morocco. And I was like, we're not doing Morocco. We've been in this business for too long. They should have been like famous songwriters of the past, but have now dried up. Like we were too famous to go to Morocco. I was like, not anymore. So they're like, fine, we're going to Morocco, and then that's the end of the first half. That's it. That's it, and that's all you need.
They're delusional, and the thing is, you can do delusional characters if they're somewhat endearing and likable, but they're really not. Not to say that they're bad people, but like their calling cards. Like what is their real calling cards? Like Warren Beatty, like they break tradition with him, and he's the opposite of a ladies' man. He's very nervous around women. He's very socially awkward. And Dustin Hoffman thinks he's a ladies' man, but isn't. He gets suicidal when.
Isn't he also socially awkward?
Yeah, they both are. But it's like these characters are just so awkwardly and blandly written. There's nothing endearing about them, but there's nothing distasteful about them. And I think that with a good character, you either love or hate them. Yeah. Kind of.
Well, like, I think they were both trying to be funny. Like, both of them were trying to be the funny man, and they failed tremendously. None of them.
Ooh, no straight man is what you're saying.
There's no straight man. There was no straight man. No, not even an attempt at a straight man.
But then at the same time, they both fail at being funny.
Yeah, exactly. So they're just man. They're
just man.
They're just man. That's it.
So if you want to see a movie about two man,
yeah,
this might be for you.
That's it. Yeah. If they're trying to make like a Bob Hope, Bing Crosby thing, or like a Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis thing, like one of them needs to be a straight man, one needs to be the funny man. Mm-hmm. And like, not even say Bob Hope wasn't Jerry Lewis level funny. Like, he wasn't like balls to the walls cartoon kind of guy. He was like made smart quips and stuff, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And it's like that, yeah. But none of them were that. So.
Right.
Yeah.
You needed that kind of. There was no chemistry.
There's no chemistry.
And these are two big actors that are good actors.
They're great actors.
Yeah.
I mean,
no
Dustin
question.
won Academy Awards. Warren Beatty won Academy Awards, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is this? I don't know what they were thinking when they were writing this movie. Like, did they write this movie, or was it just... Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
Dustin Hoffman, Warren Beatty... No, it's Warren Beatty... No, Elaine May wrote this script. Elaine May wrote it.
Oh, okay. Sorry, yeah.
So I don't know, like, what was going on during filming. Like, once again, a whole bunch of chaos.
So we can agree Act 1 is wholly unnecessary.
Yeah, it's wholly unnecessary.
Yeah, we didn't need to see their ladies leave them.
No.
Yeah, I didn't need to see their origin story.
No.
But things get... should I say interesting when they finally go get to Morocco?
I guess so.
I guess.
I mean, okay, so the foreign action of this whole thing is that Dustin Hoffman gives his jacket and passport to the Isabel Johnny character. And by the way, on the episode we did before this, I incorrectly said that Isabel Johnny did nothing and just did Ishtar. That's incorrect. She is actually a very famous French actress who was nominated for Academy Award for the movie Possession, I believe. I could be wrong with that.
She threatened to sue us.
Yes.
She threatened to sue us for that.
Really?
For that slander.
Oh,
yeah. So thanks
for
for
that
correction.
enough? I mean, you said George Lucas, go fuck yourself, and now he's after us, and
I ain't afraid of George Lucas.
I'm afraid of George Lucas. Okay,
Yeah,
he might hit us with Diet Coke Zeros. Okay.
I probably should be, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Isabella Johnny plays Shira Assel, who is a rebel in Morocco. Her brother in a previous scene was murdered by the government of Morocco's forces, basically, after he found a map of Ishtar, which is part of some prophecy. It's kind of vague, and honestly, I didn't understand it.
I thought the whole thing was like the prophecy. They're gonna lead us to the Holy Land, and like they're gonna, I don't know, like they were gonna find something, or like I don't know. I always think of iRobot, like the last robot, where it's just like you see the guy leading the people, you see the robot
to
leading
the promised
people,
land,
the promised
type of
land.
thing.
Like,
yeah,
they're gonna do that, or something like that, or they're gonna find a jewel or something.
Well, they would have been good writing.
Yeah, that would
perhaps.
Been, yeah,
I mean,
yeah, but it was really, it's like. The only reason why I did is like we're going to give hope to people. That's it. That is why the Ishtar government wanted them dead, because like it would give hope to them, and it was just like
right. They were the communists, and they wanted to overthrow the totalitarian government, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mess.
True. Okay, so I think the right way to do this is to have this like Isabel Adjani's character just like drop the map into like the baggage or to a coat of Dustin Hoffman, and then like that's the falling action. Then like he doesn't know what's happening, and then these like while they're in Ishtar, they can be like, why are these guys following us? Why are they shooting us? And all of a sudden, Isabel Adjani comes back in. It's like, come with me if you want to live, like
right,
kind of that thing. And I was like, why are they after us? Because of the map. And I was like, then like she still can be dressed as a boy. Like, why are you doing this? And then like she reveals she's a woman. And then they're both like gobsmacked, like oh my god, she's so beautiful. And that can set off like the tension between them.
Right.
Yeah.
And the problem is these characters, once they get to Morocco, they get kind of split up. Dustin Hoffman's character is being courted, if you will, by CIA agent Jim Harrison, played by the one and only Charles Grodin, while Warren Beatty's character is kind of flirting with Shira. I didn't find any romantic tension between any of these characters. Yeah, they she forcibly kisses him. She shows Dustin Hoffman one of her nipples to prove that she's a woman, and he awkwardly goes, "You have those?" None of this worked for me. I don't understand what they were going for.
They both think he's a guy, and it's just weird.
I know, and I don't know. I don't know what they were going for. I think that the romance part, I think you just rewrote this movie to be a good movie, at least a good plot.
At least a good
plot. The way that this is, she dupes him into giving her his passport and coat, and it's so unnecessary, and it's a waste of more time. And again, I didn't find any romantic tension between Shira and either Chuck or Lyle. I thought that was all very poorly written or acted or whatever.
Well, the whole movie was kind of poorly written. It's all awkward talk. It's like Ghostbusters 2000, like newest Ghostbusters, famous Ghostbusters. It's all awkward talk trying to make comedy out of it, but it just fails immediately.
Right, and there's something to be said. Obviously this movie's reputation precedes it, but there's something to be said about something that's just not bad or good compared to something that's really bad or really good. And no, you're fine. This is just bland, and it's just awkward. It doesn't work on any level, schlock or quality. It just doesn't work.
That's true. Yeah.
But anyway, they meet Shira, and I don't know. They get roped into this thing. They get roped into this whole Cold War struggle between the CIA, the KGB, the Moroccan government / rebels, and then I think it was the North Africans.
Yeah, North Africans or Russians or something like that.
So 4 factions, and again, this is all really interesting on paper, just not executed well at all. Mm-hmm. But they get chased through the streets of Ishtar once, and they have no idea why, because they don't realize where the map is, but they are secretly holding on to the map. Spoiler alert. I will admit something. I did find one scene funny, and that was when the CIA agents are in a van and they're tracking Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty into like a market, and you see all these other there's all these other agents from all 4 of those factions, and you see the CIA agents in the van saying, wait, who are those guys in the, so our guys are the ones dressed like Moroccans. Who are those guys in Hawaiian suits? Oh, those are the Russians. And then, oh, who's, they're all dressed like each other. Who's dressed like the Texans? Oh, those are the South Africans. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Or North Africans, rather.
Mm-hmm.
Was it North?
I don't know.
Who cares?
Yeah.
But either way, that part was actually pretty funny, and it did make me laugh.
Yeah, that's true.
But, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so why did Isabel Adjani characters, like, betray them? She set up Warren Beatty's character to die because she gave him beads because the beads would sparkle in the night, but they don't.
Yeah, she gave him beads that she told him that, and basically this...
I think like the leader of her gang was like, no, what, just forget these guys, like,
yes.
let them die.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
The leader of her rebel gang decided that they were liabilities and to have them killed, so she tells them to go meet with them in the middle of the desert or something, and then Dustin Hoffman's character Chuck is being told by the CIA basically the same thing, just walk in the desert for 45 minutes and we'll pick you up at this oasis, and they have the same idea, we're going to just get rid of them. Obviously, it's a death trap for both of them. But before all this, she does, Shira Assel does tell Warren Beatty's character to go meet her brother and ask for a blind camel, to buy a blind camel, like it's a code. And this, to me, is one of the movie's strangest jokes. They keep repeating this, is this camel blind or something?
Yeah.
And it's just, it's not funny. And it's like,
No.
could it have been? Maybe.
Like a one-off joke. They spent way too long in the desert, I think.
They spent way too much time in New York and way too much time in the desert. It's really quite remarkable,
They should
actually.
have done some, like, an Oasis scene or something like that. Like, not Oasis.
They should have done a Mirage scene. That would have been great.
Yeah, they should have done that to trick them, just like to say, like, that's how bad it is, they're going to die soon. And then, like, something happens, like, they find the car who they're selling the weapons to. That scene was weird.
That was weird.
That was terrible.
And Dustin Hoffman does a horrific Middle Eastern, Middle Eastern accent to try and make some money as an auctioneer for arms for these Australians. Were they Australians?
Yeah, they're Australians, selling weapons to...
This fucking movie was such a mess.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, yeah, basically they're led to their death, and they only survive because they meet those arms dealers. And at that point, the CIA decides, okay, we need to just take them out now.
Yeah.
And I will give the movie this. I did not expect a scene that featured a shootout between Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty in the desert against the CIA helicopters.
Yeah, that felt like it should have been, like, the action... There should have been more action in the movie, I think. Because I feel like if they want to make it like a... Once again, like, those type of movies, Bob Hope and stuff, I mean, once again, I've never seen one, but I feel like they should do, like, a little bit more action. Like, they should have... I don't know exactly.
Bob Hope never shot down an Apache helicopter or anything?
No, but Bob Hope did give Johnny... Who was the late night host before...
McMahon?
No.
Or Johnny Carson?
Yeah, so Bob Hope gave Johnny Carson a VHS player for his birthday one time as a birthday present.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's the only thing I know.
Nice.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe there should have been like more fighting between the rebels and like the government. Like a sword fight or like something like that.
Sure.
I'm just throwing out
No,
ideas.
seriously, give it more of an Indiana Jones type spin because that's
exactly,
almost what it seemed like they were going for.
Yeah.
But without any of this cool stuff that makes Indiana Jones good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so they were fighting, they were shooting the helicopters, then Isabella Adjani's character comes back, helps them out, gives them a rocket launcher, many grenade launchers, and it starts firing against the CIA.
Yep. And eventually the CIA says, all right, this mission's over, and they hightail it out of there.
Yeah.
And our heroes survive, become successful,
So this is what happened. They found the map. It was it was sewed into the jacket the whole time. And then they decided, okay, what are we going to do? They then send the map to the manager that they have. And the manager calls the CIA and be like, we have the map, we're holding it hostage, we will not send it out to the people unless you produce the live album and then sell it. And that's the end of the movie. That's the whole thing of the movie. And then the end of it is just them singing songs.
Wrap your head around the fact that they blackmail the U.S. government into making them successful songwriters.
Yeah, but it still didn't work.
Is that how artists, like bad artists, do that these days?
Maybe.
I think I'm just old, but I don't like much new music.
So, basically, this is the most anticlimactic ending you could possibly think of. Like, there's no major. Okay, so I think the reason why they didn't have like a major battle at the end was because it cost too much money.
Mm-hmm.
They're already overspending the budget, so they wanted. I guess they probably wanted to do one huge ending, but it cost too much money. They had to cut it to that, and that was the end of the movie.
Yeah, it kind of ends on a dud. I wanted to bring some things up here, just as other examples of how awkward this movie is when it's trying to be funny. And these were instances like the blind camel joke that were motifs, if you will. But again, they just don't land. Like one of them being when they're still in New York, Warren Beatty says, "Oh, I'm such a smuck." And Hoffman's like, "Schmuck? You mean schmuck?" "Yeah, I said that. I'm a smuck."
Yeah, he was saying it right the whole time.
Well, he was saying it. He was saying it without the ch. It's
Yeah.
schmuck. That's the tradition. You know, it's like the traditional
Smuck.
way of saying it. But Warren Beatty keeps saying smuck, and it's not really funny then. But then later, when they're dying in the desert, he says it again, and it wasn't really funny then either.
No, it wasn't.
Another one is, as you mentioned earlier, they both at one point think that that Shira is a boy. And I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe it's just American sensibilities.
He was dressed like a boy. Like that's what he said. Like, I dressed like a boy to escape the rebels, but
I
escape
didn't even
the
catch
CIA.
that. Damn it. Well, I was gonna say I thought maybe it was just American sensibilities, not realizing how Middle Eastern women dress. But hey, if that went over my head, then I'm one of those people. But they both had this. There was just this cringy line from Warren Beatty saying, "Sometimes I like to picture you as a girl," or something like that. It was one of them that said it. It was so bad. This cast just had no chemistry. I think that's a part of it, and it really was shocking.
Yeah. I guess the only movie I know that Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman worked together was this one and Dick Tracy.
And Dick Tracy's awesome.
Yeah.
That's an awesome movie.
True. But they had no chemistry together. It's because they both wanted to be leading frontmen, but one of them needs to be the sidekick, and they can't just do that because they're both control freaks.
Who was the sidekick in the other ones? Was it Bing Crosby then?
I think Bob Hope. I think the straight man's always the leading man, and then the sidekick's the funny man.
That makes sense.
That's the way it goes.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So when I was watching this movie, I felt like this movie was very chopped. Like, it felt like the editors were going crazy for this. Every line was just cut, cut, cut. And I found out why now. 3 teams of editors, one for each, for Warren Beatty, Dustin Hoffman, and Elaine May, worked almost continuously to produce cuts of the film to each principal's collection. So 3 people had 3 different editors working on this movie all at the same time. So that's why it was like that. That's why I felt like, and there's director's cut of this. I'm just wondering how much longer is this movie?
Dude, we might just have to watch that. No, we don't.
No,
we don't have to watch that.
No. So that's basically the whole movie of Ishtar. Let's get down to our 3 facts, right?
Yeah, so this is just a little trivia segment where I, being the scholar that I am, have researched the movie trivia anyway. In other words, I went to IMDb really quickly before you got over here. And I chose one bit of trivia and I made 2 other ones up. And I'm going to read them to you and you have to tell me which one is the true one.
Okay, good, because I was looking up all that information from IMDb trivia.
Shit.
It's okay. I exit out of it now, so we're good.
Okay, good. All right, well, we're going to just try this real quick. Insert trivia music.
If I can.
I gotta get that drop board still. Patreon. Okay, so number 1. Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty got into a physical altercation toward the end of a long day of shooting in the desert, which led to the crew wrapping early that day. Number 2. Kramer vs. Kramer co-star Meryl Streep was originally offered the role of Shira Essel, but she turned it down. And 3. All in all, Elaine May shot over 100 hours of footage for this movie.
I feel like the first one's false because Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman had a good relationship after this movie was released.
But all that desert shooting, though, you never know.
True. They could have had this heated argument, and they probably did have many.
It had to be hot as shit out there.
Yeah, it was definitely.
They shot on location, and I'll kind of give them daps for that. It's dedication.
That's true.
That is dedication.
I don't think Meryl Streep was offered this role at all. I don't know why this is a gut feeling. I'm gonna go with the third one. They may shot 100 hours of film for this movie. 'Cause if the movie's an hour and 45 minutes, like they cut it and directed, and I don't even know how long the director cut is. So,
Well, the director's cut could be 108 hours because that's as much film as a Lei May shot for this. That is insane.
how many reels of film is that then?
I'm not sure, but that means that the ratio of what was filmed to what was in the finished product was 61-1. That's insane.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, a lot. Who the hell knows? What the hell are the other hours? Is there a good movie in there somewhere?
Maybe, I don't know.
You never know.
Exactly.
So anyway, good work. I'll have to try a little harder next time, and you
Yeah.
stay the hell off that IMDb page. So you want to move on to your, and this should be a mainstay, your Red Button's MVP of the
Red
movie.
MVP. The Red Buttons MVP award. Definitely. It's kind of hard for this movie because not everybody's just kind of terrible in this movie. Like even Isabel Adjani's character, like even though she does nothing, she's just there. But I guess the funniest guy in the whole movie was Charles Gordon. Excuse me. I think we both agree with that. I mean,
It's kind of a by default thing.
yeah. I mean, I thought the scene was funny when he was just like freaking out in the car. It's like, okay, just turn back. Like we can still make it think it was a mistake or something.
That was good.
Yeah, that was good.
Or like, move the camel. Now move the camel. Move the camel. Move. He's on my He's on my foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grodin's always good.
True.
He's just a funny man.
Yeah.
And damn it, the one that this movie really needed to be a straight man, kind of almost.
Yeah. So that's like, yeah.
Is he the straight man?
I guess
Kind
he
of.
is.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he wasn't in the main duo, but I like your selection there. That's a great selection for
Yeah.
Red Button, and Red Buttons would be proud.
I think that's the only selection we can make this movie.
I think that's
I
true.
No.
I think that's very true.
I mean, Isabella Adjani comes in second, but she doesn't really do much. Doesn't really have any funny lines. Doesn't really add
And that's a
much.
shame because I hear she's a great actress.
Yeah, she's been nominated for Academy Awards, many Caesar Awards, which I believe is the French Oscars. I'm not sure. I'll look it up. Yes, it is. Yeah, but she's been in a bunch of films. Still looks the same though. If you look at the photo of her in Wikipedia, still kind of looks the same. Kind of the same.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's 2018?
It's
Wow.
2018, yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, would you like to give any final thoughts?
Okay, so final thoughts on this film is this wasn't good. Like, it wasn't bad good. It wasn't good good. It was just bad. It was just bad. The whole dialogue was messy. It was cringy. The plot kind of made sense, kind of didn't. The acting, they barely even tried. And it's like every decision's a head scratcher. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? So I actually read, I think Roger Ebert summed it up well in his review. Like, this, like, it's just terrible. It's a truly dreadful film, a lifeless, massive, lumbering exercise in a failed comedy. That's what he said. And he's right. Like, this is terrible.
Yeah, that is well said.
Yeah. I would not
Um,
recommend this movie to anybody. I mean, I know the curiosities out there. If you watch Red Letter Media, like they always make fun of Ishtar. If you ever seen like the trailer or hear the stories of Ishtar, it's very interesting, but it's not worth it.
well said. I guess I would kind of echo what you're saying. It's like, geez, you almost have some parts here. You know, the story is actually, like, the story on one piece of paper is not bad. It's quite interesting, actually, and I think that they've got a really interesting ideas here, but none of this works. The cast doesn't work despite how talented some of it is. The story goes on for long periods without being really necessary. There's a romance plot that I never saw any kind of romantic tension between Isabella Adjani and either of them.
Yeah.
It was just shoehorned in because, you know, movies back then you had to have that.
Well,
I
every
guess.
movie you need
Every
one.
movie, you're
Yeah.
right. That's kind of a timeless trope. The humor is not funny. The acting is so cringy, and my God, it's the really the reputation and story around the movie is far more entertaining than the movie itself. Like I said earlier, there is such a thing as good bad movie. I love movies that are bad, like schlock movies. I'm a huge fan.
Any Neil Breen film, The Room, you know.
Right. Things like, even like Batman and Robin, I would say, is better than Batman Forever because
Yeah.
it's not a better movie, but my God, it's more entertaining because it's that bad. This movie's not entertaining. I was not entertained by it. I think Roger Ebert put it said it very well. Ah, jeez. I feel like I don't even have an original thought here about it. That's just, you nailed it.
Yeah.
This movie should not have been made.
No.
Not like this, anyway.
True.
And it's honestly a shame that it's not even worse.
True.
So yeah, I don't recommend it, and I'm not happy I've seen it.
Yeah. Roger Ebert gave this a half star.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's
I would
fair.
say that's it. Half star, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. So that was Ishtar. Don't go see it.
Glad we got that out of the way.
If you ever do find a copy of it on DVD or video, please burn it. Make sure it never sees the light of day. Dustin Hoffman or Warren Beatty ever see this or hear this, please don't kill us, because I know you guys are still powerful men in Hollywood. And please do not end our careers early. I believe you both think this movie is trash, and please don't kill us. Thank you.
Yeah, be honest with yourselves,
Yeah,
okay?
come on.
It's okay, and we all make mistakes.
It would have made more sense if you guys were both high in cocaine while doing this film. Fortunately, you were not. I don't think so. So
It was the 80s.
that's true, but it would not. It would better explain why this movie was like this. But they
Yeah.
were not high in cocaine, as far as we know. Okay, so let's spin the wheel. The next film on We Haven't Seen It is Kramer versus Kramer. The Dustin
Ooh.
Hoffman fest continues with one of the saddest movies ever made, and hopefully it makes you cry. Hopefully it makes me cry.
Wow, we're going from one end of the spectrum to the other, it seems.
Yeah, we're going to probably his worst movie to probably his best movie of all time.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't know. We haven't seen it.
That's true. We have not seen it.
But next time you hear from us, we will have.
Definitely. All right, well, this is Michael.
And this is TJ.
Have a good night, and let's have our friend Robert Mitchum play us out. Bye, everybody.
Bye.